everyone, it's Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my February TBR. In the month of February, I am participating in the Historathon Readathon, which is a readathon hosted by Amanda at the Curly Reader and Sarah at Sarah's Nightstand. And it is a month-long readathon all about reading historical fiction, and I'm so excited that they put this together because historical fiction is one of, if not my favorite genre. So before I get into the books for the readathon, I wanted to quickly talk about a couple of other books that I will be reading that are not part of that readathon. So yeah, the first book is Anne of Avonlea, which is book 2 in the Anne of Green Gables series. I am participating in the Anne Along 2020, which is hosted by Tia, with Tia and All the Books, and Amanda at the Curly Reader, and February is book 2. The other book I'm going to continue reading in February is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. I am reading this with Rainey at Rainy Day Reads. I'm going to attempt to finish this in February, but I still have all of this to go. So we'll see if I get it done in February. If not, I'm definitely going to continue listening to this at work and when I'm doing stuff around the house and just see how far I get. Now for the readathon books. So Amanda and Sarah created a bingo board with 8 prompts plus the group read. I did select a book for every prompt. However, I chose books that fulfill multiple prompts so that it's still possible for me to get a bingo without reading all of these books. I do tend to be a little bit of a mood reader, so having more books to choose from is better for me. So we'll see how many I get to. The first book for the Historathon Readathon is The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. This is the group read. I've heard amazing things about Ruta Sepetys in general and The Fountains of Silence in particular, and I'm really excited to read this and see what it's all about. The first prompt for the readathon is a book with a male on the cover. What I settled on was Dear George, Dear Mary by Mary Calvi. This is about George Washington and his first love, Mary Phillipsy. So, and George Washington is right here on the cover. Then book prompt number 2 is a book set before 1900. And for that, I'm going to read The Other Alcott by Elise Hooper. This is about Louisa May Alcott, who is the author of Little Women. It's about her little sister, May Alcott, whom Louisa May Alcott kind of based Amy March from Little Women on. So the Alcotts lived in the 1800s, so it's set before 1900, and Little Women is my favorite book of all time, so I'm excited to read this and find out a little bit more about the Alcott family and where Louisa May Alcott pulled some of her inspiration from. Prompt number 3 is a book with dual timelines. I settled on The House of Dreams by Kate Lord Brown. This is set in 2000 and 1940, and it mainly follows a painter, artist, Gabriel Lambert, in 2000, and then you go back in time to kind of figure out what happens to him to change the course of his life forever. But Gabriel is part of an international group of rescue workers that is headed by Varian Fry, who was an American journalist, a real person. I had to Google that because I had no idea who Varian Fry was. So something happens, it changes the course of Gabriel's life, and you figure out what that thing is. Book number 4 is a book set in a country outside the US and Europe. I literally, when I was trying to put my TBR together, pulled every single historical fiction book that I own off of my shelves, and I do not own a book that is not set in the US or Europe. But Amanda, in her recommendations video, which I will link down below, talked about a book called Hum If You Don't Know the Words, I believe. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen, which is about set in South Africa and is about apartheid, and it sounded really, really interesting. So I have that on reserve at my library. I'm just waiting for it to become available. So the next prompt is a book with a child as a character, and for that I am reading Caroline, Little House Revisited by Sarah Miller. This follows Caroline Ingalls, who was the mother of Laura Ingalls Wilder. So Laura and her sisters have to be in this book. So prompt number 6 is a book concerning a time or event you are unfamiliar with. And what I chose for that is The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This is set in Depression era America and is supposed to follow a group of women who are part of Eleanor Roosevelt's traveling library, which I know very little about, and I'm very intrigued to learn more. Prompt number 7 is a book featuring a real historical person. The book doesn't have to be about that person. A real historical person just has to be in the book. I chose The Aviator's Wife by Melanie Benjamin. This is about Anne and Charles Lindbergh, and how they meet and fall in love. And then the last prompt is a book with a location in the title. And what I chose for that is The Paris Wife by Paula McLean. Paris is a location. So this is about the wife of Ernest Hemingway. Those are all the books for the Historathon bingo. Again, I know for a fact I'm not going to get to all of these because a lot of them are quite long. But as long as I make a bingo, I'm satisfied. The last thing I need to do is I need to pick a book from my TBR glass. You know what? I'm going to just, be extra. And I think I'm going to choose one of each. So this is books that are just like randomly from my shelves. And these are books that have been on my TBR previously that I haven't gotten to. All right. So number 1, this one. Oh. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So we'll add this to my TBR. Why not? And then this one. Let's see. This one. It is... Oh! Okay. The book from this, I actually was possibly going to use as one of my books for the Historathon. It is Miss Carter's War, which is a historical fiction. It is set in it is set in post-World War II. It is 1948 and Britain is struggling to recover from the Second World War. So I might be able to fit this in instead of one of my other books, but that worked out well that I grabbed a historical fiction book. I'm gonna hold myself to these two, and if I do not read both of these, I will have to unhaul 2 books. I'm gonna do it to myself. These are the way too many books I have on my February TBR. 1, 2, 3, that's 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, let me just throw 12 books on my TBR in the shortest month of the year. Why not? Hey everyone, it's Tara from a week after filming the TBR video. I'm getting ready to start editing that and wanted to mention 2 other books that have just recently come up on to my February TBR. So I wanted to throw those in here at the end. So I will be also reading Scythe by Neil Shusterman this month. I am going to be buddy reading this with Mandy at Bookishly Mandy. I will leave a link to her channel down below. And then I will also be reading The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I also might be participating in the Thrillerathon, which is mid-February. We'll see. Let me know down below if you are participating in the Historathon, Readathon. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy reading. Bye!